Hello, so I finally pulled my finger out and doing it. We're doing a review of the Ryobi, what is it, RM48E electric lawnmower. Going to try and do as comprehensive review as I can. I've had it about a month now. I only mowed my place once because, as you can see, the place is pretty fucking dry. But nonetheless, I've still had some time to have a good toy around with it, and it being a lawnmower, it does more than just be a lawnmower as well. So, yeah, let's get into it, eh? So as you can see, I'm just going at a pretty comfortable walking pace at the moment because it's a bit rough on the track I got going around my place. But even then, it's still quite smooth. Rides over the bumps and lumps pretty good. Pretty good for a lawnmower, you know, much better than any other lawnmower I've had. It goes over these uneven ground. Like I said, the front axle's got quite a good amount of flex in it. It's almost like a little rock crawler, to be honest. The rear axle obviously has no flex, but the front has got quite a lot of travel in it, and it's a solid axle, so, and it's got nice rubber bump stops that make it, you know, nice and smooth. It's quite a nice little package. But we'll drive up here because, well, actually, we'll drive it here first. Just to give you an idea, so there's a bit of a hump in the ground there. We'll drive over, give you an idea of its, you know, ability. Go right over the center of it. You can see that axle flexing up. Passes over with minimal fuss. Just like that. You know, that's probably about a knee-high hump there. And it just did that like nothing. And again, you got the complete full control of an adjustable throttle. Like that, you can go fast or you can go, which was a bit too fast for this kind of track, but I usually stick to it. Just a nice slow speed dropping around. Pedals not uncomfortable to hold. It's not too touchy. There's quite a little bit of give. Like you can see that. I just push it right in. It's quite a forgiving. It allows for a bit of bumps and lumps like that. You can press it right in and it's not going to take off on you. You can, yeah, very forgiving throttle, which is what you want on a lawnmower, because you don't want to be jerking around all the time because you can't hold your foot level on the throttle. So yeah, this is quite a very big forgiving throttle. So, but to give you an idea of what this can do, we'll go on the road here because it's nice and quiet at the moment, and I'll show you just how fast this thing can go, because that's another impressive thing is, if you do sort of use this as just a bit of a runabout for your property, it's got enough, you know, speed in it that it's, you know, not a slog. So we'll just check there's no cars. Yep, it's all good. Okay. So we go in here and then punch it. As you can see, quite a steady little pace we're going here. Dogs love it. It's just the perfect speed for them that they can just go for a nice run. We'll see if we're, you know, she's over there with a bone. Rocker's going for a run though. But yeah, so it goes quite a decent little speed for a lawnmower. Like I said, like you can use it, you can quite easily use this, you know, to run about your property on it, especially considering it has the tow ball on there. Here comes Mia. And here she goes, look at that, see? That gives you an idea, the dogs are running. And I can nearly keep up with them. They have to slow down occasionally, but still. Alright, we better just turn around up here. Well, actually, I'll take us up to this dirt patch here, and I'll show you some of the climbing ability of this mower, because that's another impressive thing about this is I haven't found a hill yet that can't climb. As long as you've got traction, this thing will climb it. So let's just go over here. It's hard to get an idea of how steep this is on camera, but it's quite a steep little, I don't know what you call it, crescent drain here on the side of the road. So we'll put the camera down here, get a bit of an idea of the flex there. And we'll just crawl up this. I'm not even pushing the throttle down much. I'm barely pushing it. And this thing is just crawling up here like nothing. It's just nothing for it. It's fucking brilliant. I've never had a mower that would be able to just do that steeper climb with no effort at all. Even these dirt piles, this is where it gets scary. I won't push it too far, but we'll go up here. It'll climb this, but the only problem is I'll probably tip over before I get to the top, so we won't go all the way up, but we'll give it a little go. And just look at that. It just keeps wanting to go up. Whoop. And that's about as far as I feel comfortable going, because well, that's what I'm on. That's the angle. That's level. That's the angle I'm on. So, not super comfy. This thing is top heavy. Oh, and that's the front tire starting to lift. So yeah, I could get up here, but I'm not. I'm not going to push my luck that far today. But this thing can climb. If you've got a steep yard, this thing will do it no problem whatsoever. Hey, Rocket, we are. So as soon as we're on the dirt, we'll do some fun stuff. I won't do too much because it is an expensive machine, so I don't want to be fucking up, but we'll show you sort of some of the cool things you can do. Stuff you usually can't do with the mowers. Stuff I've never done with any other mowers before, but this thing will do donuts, so have a look. See if that fucking holds it through. Oh my ear. Things you do, Kai. One of the mold you know can do that. Right, so enough fucking about. Another reason I came up with this little part here is because there's not a lot of long grass on my property. As you can see, it's all pretty much just dirt and dead grass at the moment. So we found some long grass over here. So I'll try and position the camera somewhere, and I'll give you an idea of how this mower mows, which, again, it's pretty fucking good. I can't find anything you can't mow, like super long grass I'll go through, but actually we'll get off the mower and I'll show you a bit how tall this grass is on me, so you can get a bit of an idea. So here it is here. You can see, well, actually that's a good idea. There's a fence. So that's a 1200 high fence, 1.2 meters, if you don't know what millimeters are. So yeah, this is over a meter high grass. You can see it's actually taller than the fence there from the ground up. So we'll give this a whirl, eh? It's all dead. It's not live grass, so I guess there's that, which has a benefit, but you know, you'll see. So yeah, not going to go too crazy, but you can see it does a pretty good job. I tried to show you a bit of what the turning circle's like and go a bit around and whatnot, but yeah, I had the blades. This is not the lowest setting of the blades. I think it can go 2 settings lower than this, but I thought this was low enough. This is like lawn height anyway. But yeah, so that gives you an idea of how it cuts, like long grass at least. So I'll try and get some footage in the future of it, you know, cutting some more dense green lawn sort of stuff. But as you can see, it's pretty fucking dry here at the moment. Yeah. Tie marks. Come on, dogs. Okay, so let's have a proper look at this beautiful little machine and see what you get for your money. And quite honestly, you get quite a lot, especially in terms of lawnmowers. Like I said, this is not my first ride-on lawnmower I've had, and I'm not sponsored at all by Ryobi. I wish I was, that'd be nice, but no, I haven't received any money. I bought this with my own money, and reviews being done on my own accord. I just really think that it needs to be done because, yeah, like I said, I don't think there's enough exposure for this thing because it really is a fantastic fucking machine. So we'll start off with the frame, because that's one of the things that really impressed me to start off with. Like, put all the electric stuff aside. Like, if you don't care about whether it's electric or petrol, this thing is going to be one of the most solid built lawnmowers I've ever seen. I mean, I'll admit I haven't seen like every lawnmower there is out there, but I've owned a couple of them and they weren't shit ones. One was a Murray and Sentinel, which is a Murray brand, and there was a high-end one of those, or mid-range to say, not high-end, it was a mid-range one of them, and I've owned an MTD. They were both MTD, I would say, very poor quality mower. The Sentinel, which is a Murray, that was quite a decent quality mower. That is until I, see this mower. Like, look at this. This is all proper tubular. Like most mowers, they're simply sheet metal that's just being folded up, and it's all just sort of box sections and that, which does, it's good enough for a mower, but they always have this very flimsy, flexy feeling to them. Like, they never feel quite is that strong. It's because, well, they're made cheaply. This thing here is not made cheaply. This is all proper. I don't know what wall thickness is. Actually, you can see here. Wow. So you can see there, it's not thin tubing. That's about probably, at least, I'd say it's probably nearly 3mm thick tubing right there. And all the brackets, it's about probably 5mm thick plate there. We don't just have, hello possum, how are you going, darling? Gorgeous cat. Yeah, we got, so about, yeah, we'll say about 2 to 3 mil thick wall tubing for the frame, and it's a really nice frame. All the welds, some of them aren't super pretty, you know, but you get that from a factory built thing, but they're all strong. I can't fault any of them for strength. Well, there we go, it's a perfect weld, look at that. So, you know, for a tubular frame, this is pretty good. I'm pretty impressed, to be honest, and it's all very solid, and it feels solid when you drive it too. It doesn't feel flimsy. Even if you go over bumps or you drive too fast and you start getting jolted around, it doesn't feel like this thing's going to break. And I often get that feeling when I drive lawnmowers. If you don't drive them a bit too rough, you feel like you're going to break them, and it's really uneasy. This one you don't. It feels like a little go-kart, to be honest. It's even got another thing that's impressive. There's another thing I've never seen on a mid-range lawnmower for this price, is it's got a proper front end. It hasn't just got, again, usually they're a box section sort of thing with some flimsy little, like, you know, not even a steering box, just some weird cog mechanism that sort of steers it. This has actually got an actual proper heavy duty, well, not heavy duty, but like, it's pretty solid. It's got an actual proper steering rack in it. It's got adjustable tire rods, all nice ball joints with good rubber seals and all greased. Like, this is stuff you usually just don't see on a mower, especially a mower for the price of this. This is the main things that really impressed me by this. You got LED headlights, they work really well. The tires, they're just tires. And this is another one of the parts on it that really got me, because like I said, I've owned mowers, and it doesn't matter what mower you have, if it's petrol, it's going to have a big motor that runs belts everywhere. And belts are a fucking cunt. There's pieces of shit, and the main one you always break is the belt that goes from the motor to your fucking blades here, because they either have a design where it's just a triangular shaped belt, and the way it tensions is the whole thing is by the actual blades dropping, so it puts tension on that belt, but it has a tendency of popping off all the time, or if anything gets snagged and they're breaking, so you're forever putting belts back on or changing them. There is other design which I had on the Sentinel, which is you pull a lever and that basically engages a cog that puts pressure on the belt. Those are a lot better, like they're a lot better design, but again, you're still using belts, you're still wearing belts out. I've got a lot of grass and shit, I probably should clear that out first. But as you can see here on this Ryobi, being electric, there is not a single belt anywhere. All you have is 2 nice, very powerful electric motors, one for each blade. So that's why it has so much torque and is so good at cutting grass. Like I said, I keep sucking this thing's dick, but like, it really is good. And my other mower is due to the fact that you've got one engine powering the wheels and the blades, and you got all that power loss through the transmission of the belts and everything. It does mean, you know, grass, it can make it be a slog, whereas this thing doesn't seem to struggle through grass because it's not trying to power this crap. It's simply a motor each side that just does exactly what it needs to. And as you can probably also see here, there's also quite a decent sized motor that drives the wheels, and again, that solely just drives the wheels. And as you can see the size of it, that's probably why it went at quite a decent speed. And to be honest, I think the controller they've got in this has actually been speed limited, because the size of that motor and being 48 volt, you could probably actually get a lot more out of this. But on saying that, you don't want to go too much faster, because if you go full lock at this with this going full speed on a tarmac, yeah, it wants to flip, and I've nearly had it happen before because I'm an idiot, so don't try that. So yeah, it's probably good at speed limited, but it's got a very good motor on there. And with the motor comes another thing I'm very impressed by on this, the rear differential and axle setup. It's got a proper fucking diff. Most lawnmowers, they have what they call a transaxle, and that kind of does a few things. They work well, but again, strangely enough, they don't always build them very strong. They're not even, to the fact they don't always have oil in them. So you can't even service them properly, which I think is absolutely fucking bizarre, being a gearbox or transmission type thing. But on this, you can see right here, it's got a drain plug, so you can drain the oil out of this and you can refill it. So this diff is completely serviceable. It's got a good quality breather on top of it. The axles are actually completely sealed axles that are full of grease. You can see here, there's axles in, this is a sleeve for them. So when you fill this with oil, these axles here will fill with oil, which means they're completely nice and smooth. A lot of the time you see on lawnmowers, they have the differential and it has these thin little weedy axles that come out, and there's no lubrication on them, and they often get a bit of a warp over time. You're not going to have that happen with this one. Honestly, you could even put some fucking leaf springs under here if you wanted to, and this thing can even have some suspension. I'm not going to do that, but like, you can see how it's all built. It's just an axle with a diff. It's very strong. What else can I say? I threw out the brakes. You would have seen the videos how well this thing would brake. It's just got drum brakes on it, but nothing wrong with drum brakes. They seem to do the job pretty well, but there's the brakes and the tyres. What else can we show? Yeah, okay, we've got the charging port here. So pretty straightforward. I'll show you that a bit later on the charger. I've got it set up in the shed over there. But yeah, that's just where you plug it in the charge. Pretty simple, it says it. We've got a drink holder, pretty good. So, you know, always nice to have on a lawnmower. You got a good adjustable height settings. So I usually stick it on about 2. And that's like a low lawn. If you put it on 3, that would even be good enough. That's what I had it on when I was mowing a long grass over there. But you can go even still lower than that. I've never done 1 because I've never felt a need to, but it's there. So that's about the controls for your blades. We'll have a sit on here, so we show the rest. We've got the handbrake here. So, well, the foot brake and the handbrake. So obviously when you're driving it, that's just your standard brake. And when you're parking it, if you do want to put a park brake on, you push that in and then you pull that up, let go, and that holds it. And then to release the brake, you simply just press that in and it releases itself. So that's how the parking brake works. There's your accelerator. We got your control panel here. It's a really nice control panel. I like this. It could be a little bit stronger. Like, I'm not going to fault them. I'm pretty rough on my stuff. But I did get this switch when I was mowing the front. It got snagged on the wire fence, and that did pull up, as you can see there. But it still works, and I can fix that quite easily. So that happened. And that's right, there is a USB here, which is really handy for charging your phone. But as you can see, I've broken mine because I had the cord, I didn't have my phone plugged in, the cord was dangling, and it got snagged and it ripped out of there. So yeah, unfortunately, it is a handy thing, but don't be a rough cunt like me and break it. But there's that, and when you're charging, you just slot your phone in there. It's something really handy thing to have. You got your, oh, shut up. You've got your dial here, which displays your state of charge. So this thing's fully charged. Oh, it actually isn't fully charged, but it's just because there's nothing running at the moment. But yeah, it stays your state of charge. That's your drive selector. So you got neutral, reverse. It has an annoying reverse beep. Then forward. You know, when you're driving, you can actually set cruise control. So obviously I'm sitting still, but whatever speed you're going, is you just press that and it'll hold that speed, and as soon as you press the brake, it disengages. Embarrassingly enough, this one took me a little bit to work out what it actually did. I was unsure, but basically when you're driving it, the blades will turn off when you reverse, but if you want to keep them running all the time, regardless if you're going forward or reversing, you press that and it makes it so the blades never stop unless you press that button there. So nice little feature to have to give you the choice. Yeah, so that's about as far as the controls go. I'll give you an idea of how loud the blades are, because being your advantage of electric, you've already seen how quiet it is when I'm driving it. And we'll put the blades on. So I'm not raising my voice for right now. This is just me speaking normally, so I'm not sure how well you can hear it. I guess I'll find out in the video. Like, obviously, it's not quiet, it's loud, but it's kind of hard to make things that are blades spinning, that are producing wind and gusts, not quiet. Like, all you're hearing right now is the blades, not the motors. So that's how loud they are. As far as the rest of the build quality goes, it's just as good as the frame is. Like this, even the steering wheel, it's a really nice feeling steering wheel. probably feels nicer than some of the cars I've driven, to be honest. It's really ergonomic. It's like a hard rubber compound they've got it coated in. It's kind of similar to what their tools are, I suppose. But yeah, really nice ergonomic feeling steering wheel. Another really impressive thing is this has a really nice seat on it. Not many mowers give you a proper seat. They always have those dicky little fucking saddle seats that make your fucking lower back just feel like utter hell after only like 15 minutes of mowing, whereas this one, you can actually sit in it. It's actually, you got support. It is a little bit of a lean forward, I'll admit it's annoying, but you get used to it and you can actually sit in it properly. And it's, yeah, it's a nice, it's not the most comfortable seat in the world, but it's comfortable enough for what it is. It's a nice machinery seat. It's got some good little springs down the bottom here, which again, if you look here, this is, I'm not going to open it right up because I can't be fucked, but that's where your batteries are kept. So there are 4 lead acid batteries. I was curious before I bought this whether it was going to be lithium or lead acid, but yeah, fitting with the price, they're lead acid. But that's not a bad thing because, believe it or not, knowing a little bit about battery chemistry, lead acid is probably the better batteries you want to have on this. One, they're easy and cheap to replace. Like, there's a lot less fucking about with lead acid batteries. You don't have to worry so much about BMSs. If they do, you know, happen to stuff out, it's not going to be up for hundreds upon hundreds of dollars. Yes, they still cost a bit, but, you know, to replace one of these, you're probably looking at about a couple $100 for a brand new one. So replace all 4 of them, you know, what's that? 200 times 4, got to do math. It's for $800. So it is a bit expensive, but you're not going to have to replace those for a long time. Lead acid batteries, I think you get about 10,000 cycles out of them generally. So yeah, there's some good life left in these. And the main reason I was going to say that they're good for a lawnmower is this thing, you know, being a lawnmower, you're not always going to be driving it every single day. Unless you're like me, in which you do use it as a bit more than just a mower. You use it as an actual little vehicle and tractor around the place to pull shit out and tow things around and whatnot. Which again, in future video, I'm going to try and make some attachments and things for this, but we'll leave that for the future. But generally speaking, you don't use a lawnmower every single day. How much do you use it? If it's, you know, summertime and it's raining a lot, you might be mowing your lawn every week. You know, and then there's going to be long periods of time in winter time like now where, you know, it could sit for months not being used. So if you're got in the habit, which is a good habit to have, of, you know, just plugging it in when it's not being used, it's going to be sitting there constantly fully topped up, charged all the time. And believe it or not, lithium batteries don't like that. They like to stay below 80%, and you got to, you know, they like to be cycled a little bit. So lead acid batteries don't care. They like to just be kept topped up and just stay there all day long. The longer you can keep them topped up, the better. And even if you do use this a lot, it doesn't drain much power. That's another great thing about it. Like, I've got an acre of land, and I will admit, like, my grass was probably about waist high. It was pretty long, and that took a full charge. Like, by the end, I just managed to mow the place before the battery was starting to, like, before it started to cut out, and I was on the emergency sort of battery supply. But still, an acre of land, that's pretty good. So it stays pretty true to its word. It advertises 2 acres. I wouldn't say it does 2 acres, but, you know, acre safely. And if you're just driving it around, like, just use it as a mobility scooter around your property or wherever you want to use it, like, you never have to charge it. Like, I live off grid, and I don't plug this thing unless I need to. And I've plugged it in twice. And I've owned it over a month now. So, and I drive it, not every day, but I drive around quite a bit. You know, I use it around the place. So yeah, really good on battery. You won't have any issues with that. Especially if you don't have property. But even if you do have property, like, you know, it's still very useful. I think to do a full charge, I found, you know, it says about, I think 10 hours it says, but I found it actually charges in less than that, because generally speaking, when you run it dead, you're never going to run it completely dead. And even when I ran it, oh, I suppose I haven't run it dead, haven't I? But whenever I ran it right down, mowing my place, I think it only took like 6 hours to charge all the way up to full. So, you know, it's pretty bloody good, you know, especially for a lead acid. Which case, I guess that's the last thing I'll show you is the charger for it, just so you might as well see it. So I've got to park this thing in the shed anyway, so we'll drive up there and I'll show you that. Okay, So that's what the charger looks like. You don't have to hardwire it. I've got mine hardwired because like I said, I live off grid and this is where it lives, so I figure I might as well hardwire it because it's where it's nice and secure. But yeah, so just your normal 48 plug-in volt charger. You got this cool cord like that. Lift that up. I'm doing this one-handed, so plug it in like that. You see here, it's detecting, and there we go. It's charging. So simple as that. So when you're not using it, you just leave it plugged in like that, and when you come to use it again, pull it out, chuck that up there, and you're ready to go. Or you can be like me, and I don't even do that every time. I just do that when it needs to. But good habit is to do it every time. But yeah. So I think we'll leave it at that. I think that's a pretty comprehensive review for how long I've owned it. Hope I've covered everything. Like I said, I'll probably have another review coming up when I've had it a bit longer, maybe a year on or something like that. I've done a bit more with it. There also might be some videos in the future that I'll put out because I didn't actually show it in the other shed before the workshop, but it does have a place where you can attach a tow ball to it, so I probably should have shown you that. So yes, this can tow. It has a tow ball attachment. I haven't got one yet. Here comes Possum again. She loves keeping me company. But yeah, it can tow trailers, so I will be getting one of those, and I will be testing out its towing abilities in the future, so keep posted for that video. But as for this first review, I think we'll leave it at that. It's starting to get late. I think I've rambled on and shown enough footage. Chickens here are ready for bed, ready for sleep, I should say. They're already in bed and I'm disturbing them, so I'll catch us next time, eh? Like and subscribe if you like this. I don't upload super frequently, but I try and put out videos as much as I can of the general shenanigans I get up to around the place and my projects that I'm doing. But yeah, see you next time and hope you enjoyed it. Bye.